Very good. You can't park here. Gunnar, can you get in the frame for this episode? He's like, I'm trying to rest. Yeah, but I need you to get in frame for this episode because this is the dog/pet episode.
I don't think Sparrow's going to be in this shot.
That's okay.
We're going to try later to see if he'll come up here, but well, why don't we try to get him in for the opening shot? Let me see if I can
come
get him
on in. Come on in.
Fun. Let me put lids on things so that I don't make a mess.
Well, as you can see, you can already see how we have to live with dogs in the van, dogs with long tails. Gunnar will knock everything over. All of it. All of it.
Yeah. Come here. Come on up. Up.
Oh, Sparrow. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Sit.
Gunnar? Who's that? Gunnar, who's this dog?
Sit.
The podcasting dogs. Oh, you're getting up? You're getting up?
In the wrong spot. Look
at the camera.
Hey, over here.
Both of you do podcasting.
Can you say hi?
Gunnar.
Mommy.
What do you see out there?
What are you doing?
Gunnar sees something outside. He doesn't care.
Hey, Sparrow.
Gunnar, look at that dog. Gunnar, look, there's a dog. Gunnar, look, there's a dog on the camera. He's like, I don't care. I don't care about that. What do you see out there? Oh, is it one of the turkeys again? Yeah.
Get you.
Very good. Very good.
What's the matter? I mean, I don't.
Gunnar, can you hear this? Do you hear that dog?
Trying to eat the microphone.
I don't want it.
We're gonna eat it, Mom.
Gunnar said I do not want any part of that.
No, look, sit. Right here, right. Okay.
Gunnar's upset. Gunner's like, I'm facing him. Okay, sorry guys. This is episode 5. Dogs.
This is episode 5. Welcome to Van Life with Dogs on the Knock.
It's only appropriate that we talk about van life with dogs, van life with pets. Obviously, we both have large breed dogs in a van, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say about that. So we're going to go down the list of some pet safety, of how we keep our dogs happy and comfortable in the van. And then we're also going to talk about some societal aspects because you're going to hear me say this probably more than once. It's super weird that you have a problem with us having a dog in a van that's constantly outside and at the park when you leave your dog alone in a crate all day while you're at work for 12 hours.
And it tears up your couch and like gets into your garbage and like you come home and it's like eating all the wasabi. Like,
not the wasabi. I'm not saying all of you do that. A lot of you, I'm not saying all of you do that. But, you know, in society, it's like super normal to purchase a dog and then leave it in an apartment or in a crate all day while you're at work. But my dog is always with me and is always outside. I'm inside because I'm doing a podcast. But
listen, the judgment that you give us on our dogs living in vans says more about you than it does about us as dog owners. People always worry about like, oh, your dog must be so hot and bored in that van. No, I'm in the van right now. Everything's opened up. He's on a leash so he can come and go. There's water on the floor. There's a fan here. There's 2 fans over the bed. His bed, he has his own bed. Usually it's right next to the driver's seat because that's where he likes to sit when I'm driving. But right now it's outside so that if he goes outside, he has a comfortable place to lay down. And it's in the shade.
So I started doing van life in Florida. Not only, it wasn't even van life. We were living in a 2005 Honda Pilot. Gunnar slept in the front seat. My husband and I slept in the back. It wasn't by choice. It was for financial reasons. And I had a lot of people judging us and we're like pretty harsh about it. But at the same time, if you give your dog up for adoption and he's sitting in a shelter, you're going to get judged for it. For me personally, I adopted this dog. I've had him for over 10 years now. Like, he's been with me and my husband through so many different stages of our life. I'm never getting rid of him no matter what. Like, that's not an option to me. And he's our family. And he is bonded to us and he loves being with us, whether we're in a van, a hotel, a house, a yard, a park, hiking. This dog has probably hiked more trails than most people listening, honestly, which is
Yep. Yep.
crazy.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but the number one important thing when we were in Florida was the heat, because dogs overheat really easily. They don't sweat, they pant to cool themselves down. And Florida is super hot, super humid. Bunny's in the desert. So it's dry heat versus
Exactly.
the humidity. Both suck and both aren't good. So, yeah, overheating in the summer, definitely it's just like you and your pet cannot be in the van in the summer, at least in Florida. You have to be out at the park, doors open, plenty of water. I have a 5-gallon jug and a 7-gallon jug in here. There's never not water for him. I have an awning that pulls out so I can create my own shade if there's not trees. Um, so yeah,
You can get them wet. You can put down a blanket on the ground and wet it down, and that's actually somewhere they can lay that will cool down. The air will cool down that wet blanket. There's so many things that you can do to keep your dog comfortable. And yes, we make it the absolute priority. I think our dogs are more important to us than we are to ourselves at this point.
yeah,
Like, he's not just like my friend and my family member. He is like an invaluable asset to this whole van life thing. He keeps me protected. He keeps me company. He is everything to me. I would not be able to be doing this in such a great, healthy and happy way if I didn't have him to share it with. And there was a time when I did van life without a dog and it was miserable. And I did not want to be here. I did not want to be here. I didn't want to, it wasn't that I didn't want to be in a van. It's just I didn't want to be here.
yeah.
I missed my best friend. It was horrible. He passed away actually just 2 years ago on April 11th. So like 1 or 2 days ago, which is crazy. And he had seizures for the last 4 years of his life. I love you, Dutch. His name was Dutch and he needed medication. We had like 5 different vets across the country that we had a network. We could not leave like 300 miles from that like network because we always needed to be able to get there as soon as possible. If we needed a refill on his meds, if we needed some kind of emergency vet care, we could go to any emergency vet care, but to have his 5 vets that knew him was the most important thing. And only those vets that were associated with him consistently could prescribe it because it was a controlled substance. Was phenobarbital, and I couldn't get it in Mexico. I couldn't bring it over the border. It was nothing like that. So I had to keep it in America. It meant that I couldn't leave the country. And okay, this is my best friend and my family member. And he only has so long on this planet versus me. I can go do whatever I want after that. And I did before that. But he's a priority to me. And there's no denying that. Like, this is just how it's going to be. So now I have another dog, Sparrow, and it's the same thing. We will put him first completely all the time. I won't be in a hot place. Like, I have a thing that I have to do on my van coming up, and it's in Phoenix. And my whole thing is, I was talking to my bus guy, how am I going to do this when it's like, 90 degrees in Phoenix? And he's like, you can stay inside the garage until it's nighttime, and then we have to close up shop, but then you can stay in the lot. You won't have to go anywhere.
That's
But
cool.
you stay inside the whole time with your dog so that you guys are comfortable. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
Shetke bus sales, man. Shetke bus sales in Phoenix. Like, they're awesome. They really are amazing. And every
Yeah.
once in a while, they have buses for sale. So check them
Okay.
out if you're interested.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, I guess if you're not an animal lover or if you're just some sociopathic weirdo that doesn't need some type of companion animal, then the it's not going to be worth it to you to have an animal in van life, because
Right.
bottom line, logistically, it's extra work, it's extra money, it's extra restrictions for yourself. For me and my husband, like, this is our companion, this is our like family member, and my husband is at work all the time, so during the day I basically am doing solo female van life. People don't know that I have a husband. It looks like I'm traveling alone. So weird stuff happens, and Gunner is not just a companion, but also a really good form of protection. He's naturally very protective. He was adopted. He was at least 1 or 2 years old when we got him from a shelter in Sanford, Florida. He was really underweight. He had mange. He had kennel cough. His ears were scabbed over. He wasn't very social. He just kind of sat in our apartment and didn't want anything to do with us. He was very reactive to dogs. He was reactive to strangers when we were walking him. And he has changed so much in the past 10 years. He is so lovey dovey with us. He is like such a cuddler. He's such a little old man baby now. I mean, if one of us goes into the store, he looks out the window and waits for us to get back. He's super protective over me. He's super protective over the van. He loves kids and elderly people. He's really good with little kids. He loves children. With men, he's still okay with them, but when people first approach him, like I have to tell them, like, don't get in his face, let him come to you, like he'll give you his butt, but do not. He looks like he wants to play and wrestle, so people start wrestling with him, and then he's like, "Wait, I don't know you," and then he'll freak out on you. So like I really have to advocate for him because people are like, "I'm a dog person," and I'm like, "Yeah, but he doesn't know you. Please don't touch me or my dog. Thank you so
No,
much."
don't come into my campsite and touch my dog. Don't let your dog into my van. No, don't. Just don't. I know that this happens to you all the time, but people come up all the time, and like I don't know how many times we have to say it, but like don't pet a dog without asking. This morning, I had a great experience. I was walking my dog around this parking lot that I stayed in overnight, and there was a woman kind of sitting on like a retaining wall, and she was doing something on her phone, and Sparrow immediately was like, "Oh my God, it's a person! I have to go say hi." Hold on, wait a minute. And she caught it with her eyes and she was like, oh, you could tell she wanted to meet.
Aw.
And she asked me, she was like, can I pet him? And I was like, absolutely.
Aw.
And so I let him go over to her and he was just like, Mom, look at my new best friend. And that is a beautiful, I want him to be able to interact with anybody and feel comfortable. He doesn't get reactive. I'm really lucky with him unless I tell him to, because we've been working on that. I'll start growling at someone or yelling at someone and he backs me up. He's my little warrior. And I think that if something were to happen to me, like he would definitely like step in.
Yeah.
But and if anyone threatened me or the van, like he knows. It's so weird because he's so friendly, but immediately if he senses someone being a little bit too curious, he's like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Oh, I love when you do that, Sparrow. You're my hero.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's definitely moments where I would not be here without him. He's saved me from so much and I love him to bits. But there's definitely a protective measure that dogs give us. And it's not that we only get them for that. It's just like that's how they pay their rent.
It's a bonus. It's a
Yeah.
bonus.
Yep.
And it also gives me peace of mind. I can just get a really full, good sleep because I have an alarm system. Like, if someone's too close to the van, and I don't know how Gunner dictates this in his mind, but he has some type of system where if someone gets within a certain distance of the van, and especially like at nighttime, he will let us know, he will let that person know. But he doesn't, he's not a big barker. He's quite silent. So I don't know how he decides like that's too close. But if people are just driving by or walking by, because, like we're in a more urban environment, he's not barking the whole, thank God he's not a barker, which is
Yeah.
also really helpful for if you're trying to be stealth. If you're trying to get into van life, because this is the question I get a lot is, well, me and my dog are used to an apartment or we're used to a house, and like my dog doesn't like car rides or my dog gets really anxious. I am telling you right now, you it certain dogs just have certain dispositions, and I do think that there are certain animals where van life would be horrific for them and you're going to stress them out, and it's not cool.
I've
So
had that experience. I adopted a dog that did not like van life. And the reason I adopted her is because when I saw her in the shelter, I had to think about it, but she was covered in mats. Her hair was like one huge dread all over her body. And I was like, I kept having dreams, and my last dog came to me and was like, please, I know this is crazy sounding, but he just kept saying to me, she needs you, she needs you. Like, I was doing a yoga retreat for a month in Cedar City, Utah. And I kept being in these like somatic workshops and like getting these visions of my last dog. She needs you, she needs you, she needs you. And I was like, okay, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. I was like, okay, finally, I like went back and I got her, and it didn't work out, unfortunately, but it did work out miraculously. Like, there was something there. I was supposed to move her to a different location so she could find her forever home, and it worked out miraculously, guys. But she hated van life. She scratched up my windows. She tore up my mattress. She broke my last tablet. She chewed wires. Like, there,
No.
she got into so much, and like it was to the point where like she was going to hurt herself. She kept escaping from like windows that were only open this, I don't know how
No.
to break the window. I came out of the parking lot, and she would be running around the parking lot.
Oh
Woohoo!
no, 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 no.
Chasing her, and I would just drop my bags and like, oh my God, it was a nightmare. And at that
That's too much.
you have to realize, like, okay, there's nothing I can do. Like, this, she's not ever gonna like this. Like, we stuck
No.
it out, what, 2 or 3 months, and
Well,
she
it's
just
not safe for
it got
you and
worse
it's
and
not
worse.
safe for her.
Right.
And I
And at that
think,
point, like, I
no,
knew something had to change, but I couldn't put her back in a shelter. And the way that it worked out, I literally had an angel come down and touch me on the shoulder and say, I know someone who's looking for a dog just like that. And I was like, what? And it all worked out beautifully. But like, sometimes you have these things happen and you have to handle it the best you can. And like, if that means you have to, do your due diligence and try to find someone, listen, I just kept giving it a shot. I just tried and tried. And 10 times
well, but
man,
that
it's
was a
great.
dog you tried adopting. If this is your own personal pet that you've been living with, you're a piece of shit if you give up your dog just so you can do van life.
Yeah, you are. Let's face it. You can't, no. So, fun story. I almost gave up Dutch before I started living in a vehicle.
Well, wait, can I hold on? Let me interrupt you because I don't want to. I do know somebody that's a follower of mine. They became essentially homeless and they were like, we have to give up our animals to give them a better life. That's a different situation. But if you're like, well, I really want to do van life, but I don't think my dog's going to like it, so I'm going to give it up. That's
Not cool.
That's messed up.
So I was facing a similar thing where like I just couldn't make ends meet anymore, and I was like, I'm gonna take my income and do what I can with it. And I thought one of my family members had a friend that had a very similar breed dog to Dutch, and was like, you know what? I'll teach it. My dog will teach it how to hunt. It'll be a great hunting dog. He'll have a great life. He'll live in Vermont. It'll be fantastic. And I was like, perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. And, still, it was kind of like weirded out about it, but I really didn't. Back then, this was 12 years ago. There wasn't a van life term. There wasn't like sprinter vans. It wasn't like that. Like, it wasn't like the trendy thing that it is now. It wasn't a lifestyle. It
Right.
wasn't, oh shit, what am I going to do now? It was like an emergency situation. And so, I didn't think, I had no idea. And that's why we're here telling you that you can do it with your dog. Doesn't even
Oh,
matter.
yeah.
A Volkswagen Beetle. You can still do it with your dog. Trust
yeah.
me. I did it in a hatchback. And I thought my dog was going to go with this person. And then he got really, really sick. Like, like deathly sick, like the C word. And so I couldn't take him with me. And I couldn't give him to a better home, and they couldn't take him. And I was like, okay, well, all right. I guess I'll take him with me. And it was this like last minute, like, all right, I guess we're just going to do this. And I did take a trial run as a nomad in a vehicle before I gave up my apartment. I had already kind of known I was going to do it, but it was a trial run for me and my dog. And we went up to Maine to visit some friends and do some camping. And like the first night, we were driving up through the White Mountains in New Hampshire. It was absolutely beautiful. And Dutch is in the back seat. And I'm like, Dutch, look at
Aw.
this dog came up through the front seat and just put his head on my shoulder and was just like, wow. And I was like, so glad I
Yeah.
brought this. This was supposed to happen. And it was just, it just worked out really well. And that dog traveled with me for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. Yep.
It's like I said, it really depends on the dog. Gunner has always loved car rides, and me and Andrew used to be work, 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 pay rent, never there. And I had a pet cam, and poor Gunner was just laying by the window looking outside all the time and just alone, you know? And then we were so stressed out from working and money that we weren't really spending quality time with him. And like,
Right.
I look back on that time as just like years wasted because he's just getting older. And I just feel like van life was like something really special for us because we spend so much time together now. Like me and Gunner are together 24/7. We're always at the park. We're always going on walks. Like we eat sushi together. I let him eat sushi because he's old. Who cares? Like he gets his yeah, he gets tin fish and like we'll do food reviews together. And I just feel like so much time is wasted like not being spent with your pet because you're working, 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 working. And like I'm just lucky that Gunner loves this. He loves the excitement. He loves looking out the window. He gets that stimulation 24/7. We're always going on a hike. Like he knows the word hike. Like he knows when we're like getting our boots on and we go to the trailhead and he's just like ready to do it. And till this day, like people cannot believe how old he is. They're like, he's 12 years old. And I'm like, yeah, you only know because of the gray on his beard, but like he loves it. And it would just really suck if, because we had no choice but to live in our vehicle, it would have really sucked if he couldn't handle it. I don't know what we would have done. But I had the type of job during that time where I could take him to work with me. So that's the other thing is, what are you going to be doing for work? Because leaving your dog in a vehicle for a long period of time is just not the vibe. It's a little bit easier if you live in an RV and you're like at an RV park and you have a pet cam and you have AC or you have heat and it but like in a van, it like so okay, here's an example. Like I have to get hotels sometimes, especially if I want to do something. Me and Andrew had tickets to this comedy show, and I was like, "I don't think we should leave him in the van. The show is downtown. Like, we have to pay to park and then walk to the venue. Like, I don't feel comfortable leaving him in the van where I can't see it or be near it or go check on him." And Andrew's like, "Well, like, we'll get a hotel." So we have a slew of pet-friendly hotels. That's the thing too, is you wanna make a list of all of the pet-friendly
And get a
places.
membership at them, like
Yeah.
Comfort Inn or Clarion Inn, whatever it is, like get yourself Holiday Inn.
Yep.
The one, even if, and then get your dog registered as a service animal so that you don't have to pay the pet fee.
Oh god, you're gonna piss people off with that.
I don't care. It's a hack and it doesn't cost much. It's like less than $100 if you get the right package and you can bring in your certificate and that's it.
Wait, is it service or ESA? Because there's, like,
Both.
emotional support
So
and
if you get your dog registered as a service animal, you do have to get some kind of training for it to be recognized. But there is a loophole. Even if you haven't gotten any training and you get the certificate and you have the little thing, as long as you have that paperwork and you show it to the clerk, they have to. There's a Americans with Disabilities Act that they have to honor that. Okay. And like whether you need it for emotional, listen, we all need our dogs for emotional support. Would you let your child in the car? Would you let your child stay in the van while you were in a hotel room? No. And it's ridiculous. The amount of cleaning that humans make more of a mess than a dog will. I'll tell you what. So I've seen some horrendous things happen in hotel rooms, and like dogs aren't doing those kind of things. So
I had Gunner as an ESA when we were looking for places to rent, and, there's, like, breed and weight restrictions. So I got him ESA, which is just emotional support, and, it's not really as many like, he didn't have to have any training or anything, but when it came to renting, people were like, "Yeah, we just won't rent to you, like, we don't care." Like, because they don't have to accept you. They cannot accept you for anything. Um, and then I didn't, like, renew it because for whatever reason, like, I just have had a really good luck on the East Coast where I've been with finding pet-friendly hotels. There was this one pet-friendly hotel in Florida that was privately owned, and it was a historic building, actually, and it was near the beach, and, it was pet-friendly. They would have dog treats with Gunner's name on it. They knew us there. We would go 'cause we would stay there maybe, like, once a month, so the staff was familiar with us, and it was super nice. Where we go now for the hotel, Andrew's a rewards member, and there is a pet fee, but like the guy that works at the front desk knows us, and like he doesn't charge us the pet fee. So yeah, I know when you're traveling, you don't get to make those types of relationships, but because I'm in a singular location, people are like the green van people. And Gunner, I think because Gunner doesn't make him, I'm so lucky, guys. Like, Gunner doesn't chew anything. Gunner's not a
Yeah.
barker. Gunner doesn't, he's had a few accidents, but that's when if he didn't poo poo the night before and Andrew's like getting up early for work, and like normally I'll walk Gunner like once Andrew gets to work because it's so early. So he'll poo poo while we're driving because he wakes up and gets excited that we're driving. So now we don't care if it's like still dark out, like we have to walk him before Andrew gets
That's the
from point A to
thing.
point B.
As soon as I wake up, like I usually take like a little bit of time to cuddle and snuggle with him and all that, but like I think I go pee in the morning, and then as soon as that's done, it's time to take Sparrow out. Like this is our routine.
Yeah.
I don't get to go get coffee. I don't make coffee. I don't have breakfast. I don't even take my morning poop until Sparrow's been out and pees and poops. Like you have to, because he's been in the van. Like he doesn't like to leave the van when it's dark. It's the weirdest thing. He won't. I think he's afraid of the dark. I'm not. I'll go out there and be like, let's go look at the stars. And he's like, can we go inside now? I don't like it. I don't know if he
That's
has
so funny.
that or whatever, but he doesn't like being outside in the dark.
Oh,
As soon as the sun goes down, he's done. He's like, I'm in the van. I want to have my dinner and I want to go to bed. So sometimes he will hold it for like 10 to 12 hours. And I'm like,
that's a lot. That's
are
a
you
long
sure you don't
time.
want to go out? And he's like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I wait until the sun comes up. Sometimes we'll start if like we have to get on the road or whatever. Like I'll force him to go out, but like he does not
That's what
like
I'm saying.
sun in
Like,
the dark.
well, because Andrew, sometimes he can be a stubborn pooper because he's nosy and he's like worried about what's going on. So because we're in an urban environment, we're basically walking him in a parking lot where there's people. And so he's
Yep.
like, what's going on? And then he won't poop. And Andrew's like, well, I'm going to be late for work. And so then we'll start driving to work, and then he poops in his bed while we're driving. And so now I'm just like, bro, would you rather be late for work and have poop in the van, or would you rather be late for work and he actually poops? So
Yeah.
now we're like, we're not leaving until you poop because I don't trust you, bro. I know
Yeah.
you have to poop. You're holding it in, dude.
You know, Dutch had that issue as he got older too, and I think it's just like when they get older, they have a
Yep.
harder time. Their muscles kind of give out,
Yep.
and I know as I get older, I have that problem sometimes too. So, yeah,
We
it's
don't
frustrating.
judge you,
But I kind
Gunner.
of deal with it. It's all part of having a dog in
He's
van life.
ashamed. He's
Hmm.
ashamed. But what I'm trying to say is he doesn't make a mess. He's a very easygoing dog other than that.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Sparrow's like that too. He's not a barker unless I tell him to, and he's just really laid back. I got very, very lucky, and not all dogs are going to be like that. Some people have a more challenging animal than others.
Yeah.
So back to like bringing it back to like an organized outline here.
Yeah, yeah.
Keeping them comfortable in the van is an absolute must. We have fans. You have air conditioning if you have a hookup to power. I have multiple fans. I travel with the weather. You guys can't do that, but you have another way of accommodating that. Thank goodness.
Yeah, Andrew's work, his
Mhm.
manager was like, "Oh yeah, there's power outlets." I don't know if I already talked about this on a different podcast, but yeah. So this summer we have an AC unit, but it's like really hard to power it because it takes a lot of power. So his manager was like, "Yo, like there's power outlets in the back of the parking lot. You guys can like plug in your van whenever." So this summer when it's like 80 plus degrees, I can literally crank this AC and have Gunner be in here with the AC. Especially some
I
days it's just
love
too
that.
hot to be outside. Like some days you're like, this is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's too hot for if it's too hot for you to be in the van, like you know it's already too hot
Oh,
for him.
dude.
Listen, okay, so you have to go in during like okay, so you're in like an 80-degree area and you have to go into the grocery store. What do you do with your dog? You can't leave him outside. You can't bring him in with you.
You have to wait till
Sometimes
nighttime.
sometimes you have to wait till nighttime. Sometimes you have to
Oh,
wait.
yeah. Oh, your whole schedule, if you're gonna have a dog in van life and you actually care about your dog, your whole schedule now revolves around them and where
Yeah.
you can take them and when you can take them and where, like, during the summer or when I lived in Florida, because it's just 80 to 100 degrees all the time, everything was done at night. So daytime, I could not get anything done because so much of my day was like, well, I can't leave him in the car to go get anything. So you have to do everything at night, and then we were just outside, like, by the water, so there was a breeze during the day.
Yeah. People like judge us for having a dog in the van. Like they have no idea the amount of work that goes into our relationship with them and putting them as a priority. And we're just going to keep telling you throughout this whole episode that like everything that we do, they are at the forefront of our mind. Okay, what are we going to do in this situation with the dog? And it's never that we're never thinking about them or that we neglect them, anything like that. It's we're constantly negotiating our lifestyle for the comfort of our pets. I swear.
This winter was a struggle for us because Gunner hates the cold. He's a bully breed, so he doesn't have a lot of fur. So, baseline, he has a hoodie and then he has like an actual outerwear jacket. And
Oh,
then, yeah, it's like really nice. One of my followers sent that to me when we first moved here last year. I got this for like $40 or something. A follower got it for me at TJ Maxx, and it's freaking awesome. He'll wear this hiking in the winter and stuff. But we had a really harsh winter this year. So we had our Mr. Buddy heater. We ended up staying in Andrew's manager's FEMA trailer because he wasn't using it, so that we had heat. Um, Gunner had, when we were in the van before the FEMA trailer, I have a heated dog bed. It's like specifically for dogs. We do have heated blankets and heated vests, but you need to be very careful because the temperature of heated blankets for humans can get too hot for dogs. So if you are going to use a human heated blanket, it needs to be low, 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 low. Like you don't even think it's that warm. Because Gunner's dog heated bed, even on the highest setting, is lower because dogs don't sweat. They regulate their heat differently. So do not crank the blanket on and incinerate your dog.
yeah, like you have that heated pad or whatever that he can sit on. That way he can be the control of it.
Yeah.
If he wants to get on the pad, he can. And if he wants to get off, he can too.
Yeah, it's not a heated blanket. It's like a heated pad for dogs. So like I
Right.
put it on top of his bed and then he gets on top of it and does his thing.
Sometimes you can get those like knitted little caves for if you have like a Chihuahua or a small dog or a dog that doesn't have long hair. Um, yeah, you're gonna have to worry about that too, and it's all part of it. I'm telling you, they have cooling blankets that if you wet them down, they do stay cooler. There's like something in them, I don't know, some kind of fabric technology I don't know about, but Dutch used to have one. I think I gave it to Toby for his dog. I can't remember what happened to it, or I lost it in the van move. But we haven't really been in super hot temperatures yet, but we probably will. So I'll probably get Sparrow a new one. But even if you just put a wet towel down, like that can severely cool them off.
Yeah.
And if I put a fan on the floor over that wet towel, it will create a cool space for him.
It's like a swamp cooler type of vibe.
Yep.
When we're
I have
hiking.
under the garage for him to go. That's the coolest part in the van. He will go under
What?
there and hang out. Yeah.
He can go under the van?
Oh, under the bed. Yeah.
Oh, under the bed. That's cool.
Yeah. So this van had a lift in it because of the hydraulic handicap lift that was in it.
Okay.
So he's super high off the ground. So he goes under the van freely. He goes under there all the time, and he doesn't get any oils or anything on his head because there's just so much room under there. He does his little.
Well, it's a good shade for him. Like Gunner tries to get under there, and I'm like, bro, you can't fit.
He would do it with my last van too, which was lower to the ground. And he would get under there, but he would always get crud all over him. And I was like, I had to stop that.
It's not, yeah, it's
now he
too
can go
much.
under there just fine. But also under the bed where the garage is, he likes to go under there too, because it's going to be the coolest place in the van. But there's fans on the bed. There's fans I can move on the floor. There's a huge ceiling fan. There's also a vent in here. So we have a pretty good way of regulating.
Yep.
But if it's 88 degrees, there's no way you're going to catch me or my dog in this van with everything closed up. Absolutely not. We are parked in the shade. We have everything opened up and we have ventilation happening.
Yeah.
And if it's too hot for me, there's no way that he's going to be in here. He usually is on a leash when we're parked somewhere. And I always make sure if it's an urban area, we're at a park, we're at somewhere where he can come and go as he pleases, but he's on the leash attached to the van. So if he wants to go in and out, he can. Right now, come here, bud. Come on up. Come here. Come here. Come on. Oh, he's going to be stubborn. Up. Come on. Sparrow, up.
They don't want to be on our podcast.
He's like, no, I don't like you.
They don't want to do our podcast.
He's scared because the wind right now is blowing and he gets freaked out. But like, he's under there right now. He's
my word.
He wants to be with my. He likes to be right there. It's his safe space. Let me fix this.
Gunner's just in the bed. Gunner does have his own bed. It's under our bed. There's like a little nook under our bed, like at the foot area. So he has his whole dedicated space. It was really cold last night. Like it was right below freezing. So he got in the bed with us. I know the weather's been crazy here. It was 80 last week and now it's in the 30s at night here. And I'm like, can you just please pick one season? Finding emergency vets, especially in rural areas. So that's tough. I feel like mechanics and vets when you're traveling are so important because it's hard to find good ones. I have had horrific experiences with emergency vets where we walked out and it was not a good situation.
Same.
Because that was a fun time. And then I've also had some really great experiences with vets. And, if the vet is chill and you tell them, hey, I'm a traveler, blah, 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 and like, can we keep in touch and like circle back around? A lot of the times they'll even like, you can contact them if you have questions and like, they'll at least point you in the right direction. I was really lucky in Florida. I had a vet that was partnered with a rescue. So they weren't just like money. They were just happy that you were taking care of a rescue dog. So
Right.
There was so many times where they were like, no, you don't need to pay for that. Like, no, you don't need to do this. Like they weren't reactive in the sense like, let's do surgery now. Let's put them on medication now. They were just like, let's wait and see how it goes. They're going to be fine. They never once made me panic. They never once like fear mongered me. So I would just say in general, if you have a vet that like fear mongers you, like that's kind of a red flag to me.
If they treat you bad, they're treating your dog bad. If they're judging you, they're judging your dog. Like, if you get the bubbles in your guts, leave and find another vet. Like you always have, it's just like a doctor for yourself. You have the right to a second opinion. You're paying for it. This is your dog. You have to be diligent. Yeah, like I said, Dutch had 5 vets across the country that we saw probably like 2 or 3 times a year each because he was on a controlled substance that we needed to check his liver levels for. Because this stuff, if you're on it for too long, it can give you liver damage. And like his levels were always fine. But we had to keep on it every 6 months. We had to get him tested. And like all these vets were in cahoots with each other. Like they didn't know each other before we came along, but they all had each other's backs, each other's emails, and everybody, like I kept them all updated all the time. And yeah, it was a lot of work, but that was my best friend, of course.
Yeah.
I almost lost him. Like one vet told me I was going to have to put him down or pay like $3,000 in testing an hour away in Salt Lake City when he started having seizures. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to try CBD. I'm going to try all these other things and see if I can make that work. And speaking of, hold on. Sparrow is caught on the seatbelt.
Oh boy.
There you go. There you go. You're okay. Well, thanks, Mom. You're welcome. It's okay. But that first vet that I saw for a seizure, she was like, well, she looked at me and was like, you're just a piece of crap. And I'm like, why would you,
Do you think because you lived in a van? Is that what it was?
She didn't know I lived in a van. I came with someone that I was working for in his vehicle with my dog, and I was dressed and showered and everything. And she just judged me right away.
But I feel like that's also a sales tactic for some vets.
Yep.
They make they fear monger you. And then if you're not willing to shell out $5,000 to $8,000, they're like, oh, well, you just don't love your animal. And I'm like,
yes. Yes. If you don't have money, you don't know how to take care of an animal. Yes. That is very, very true. And I felt like she was giving me that judgment as well. So Thank God. When I went to a store to get dog specific CBD treatment for my, Dutch, the woman at that store was like, "What are you, just curious? Like, what are you getting this dog CBD for?" And it was like, "Well, he's having seizures." And I went to this one vet and she wanted to put him down or charge me like thousands of dollars in testing an hour away. And I don't have the opportunity to do that right now because my van had actually broken down at that point. And she she was just like, "I know another vet." And he doesn't really advertise because he's kind of an older man and he's trying to shut down, slowly wean off the business. Go see him. Go see him. Here's his number. And so I went and saw him and he gave me an appointment. And the second I walked in, I knew I was at the right place because he took one look at this dog and looked at me with these such tender, caring eyes. And he said, "That dog has so much life left in it. We'll just put him on phenobarb. He'll be fine." And I was like, "Are you serious?" Because this other woman was making it sound like I was going to have to put him down, and he's having like 3 to 6 seizures a day, and none of this is helping. And it's been a whole week, and oh my God, I just broke down crying. That was like the happiest day of my life because I realized I was going to have my dog for at least another 2 years, and it ended up being another like 4 years. So that vet gave me my dog back, and all because I got this second opinion.
Yeah.
So don't ever believe what the first vet tells you, especially if they're judging you and making you feel awful.
Well, if you don't feel comfortable in that room, like it, unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic hellscape and everything is a business. And I'm
Yep.
not saying there's not good vets out there that really love what they do, but unfortunately, just because of the society we live in, there's a lot of people that are just in their line of work for money and they're miserable and they don't love what they do anymore.
They're in cahoots. They're just like doctors, a lot of them, not all of them, but they're in cahoots with like the pet food companies, the pharmaceutical companies.
Oh my God. When they try to get you to put your dog on that hill science bull, that dog food sucks so bad. If you have your dog on it and it works, I'm not judging you, but I'm just letting you know, my friends that put their dog on that, their dog had diarrhea and was so sick. And I'm like, why? Why? Anytime I go
Pedigree is what caused, or no, Purina is what
Purina.
caused Dutch to get. I changed his food. I even did like the slow change over a week's time, like introducing new food.
Yeah.
But it was a different brand that it was Purina, and I'm pretty sure that's what caused his seizures. And sure enough, there was a
Dude.
study done that it caused all these dogs.
There's always recalls for dog foods and
Yep.
stuff. Like I'm
Oh
super
God, you
picky
guys
with
got to do your diligence for the dog
Oh,
food.
that's the other
Oh
thing.
my Lord,
Wait, that's the other thing.
important thing.
If you're traveling around and your dog is on a specific food, you have to make sure that you can get it wherever you're at. Or if you know they don't sell it in a certain region, you're gonna have to buy it in bulk, or you're gonna have to like ship it to you through an Amazon
Make sure
locker.
that there's at least two brands that your dog is comfortable using, that you can afford, that provides the right nutrition, because you're going to be places where they just don't have your brand and you're going to have to figure it out. And if you have a backup brand that your dog likes and is used to, then you have a little bit more options. But yeah,
I've had to make Gunner his own dog food before.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we do that all the time. And I mean, I supplement most of his kibble with vegetables that I rotate every week, and then he gets a raw egg or he gets a boiled egg.
Yep.
And anytime I have like one of those rotisserie chickens or I get like chicken breast or whatever, like I usually cook some up and put it in the freezer. So
Yeah,
that
Gunner has his vitamins. He takes a supplement twice a day.
yeah.
So he gets his regular kibble and then his vitamin has turmeric in it. So it's for joint, it's for cognitive, and it's for his digestive system because he used to have a really well, now that he's gotten older, his digestive system, there was a few times where he ate something random off the ground and was pooping blood and I thought he was dying. And so I was like crying and freaking out. And then luckily the good vet was just like, "No, he's fine. He just upset his stomach and it's inflamed. Like he just has to eat basically rice and plain chicken." But I'm like,
Girl,
"Can you
that's
not?"
everything. He would get into the garbage. He
Like,
he
what?
so awful about food. He was this stuff. When I talk about that wasabi story, that was Dutch.
No,
The vet
why?
actually told me Put hot sauce on, because he used to get in the garbage when I first got him when I lived in an apartment. He said, put hot sauce all over the garbage lid. We had a little like swinging door lid. Okay, we did that. He licked off all the hot sauce and had the for a week.
Oh my
I went
god.
back to that. I said, what else can I try? He said, put wasabi on that. Dogs hate wasabi. They hate horseradish.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Oh
Not
my.
Dutch. He licked that clean and had green for a week all over the apartment.
That's wild.
Then this vet, and this should have been my red flag. You guys, like, I'm not proud of this moment at all. You can shame me all you want in the comments. Listen,
No, what did you do?
not any more than I shame myself, but my vet told me to do this. And we were really like at our wits' end. Like, we had moved the trash up. We had put it, he found ways to get into child lock cabinets. You wouldn't believe the stories I have about Dutch, but he told me to put mouse traps in the garbage.
No! Bunny, that's evil. Bunny, Bunny, that's so evil.
Everywhere. And there's a mouse trap on each jowl, and he's just looking at me like, I don't know what happened, but the trash was delicious today. It was not spicy.
Oh
And we had to
no.
remove them, and it would leave little marks for a couple of weeks.
No.
So, yeah. We got a new vet after that.
That's mean.
Yeah, we got a new vet after that. It was horrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what I didn't know what else to do. Like, we had done everything. Like, we had to put the garbage somewhere. We ended up putting it outside, and then the raccoons got into it. Like, there wasn't a place to keep it. Dutch was a very smart. Listen, he had one of those cones, the cone of shames on. He figured out that if he backed up the right way into a door jamb, he could wriggle it off. And so there was nothing we could do. He was very smart.
Yeah, some dogs are just so intelligent.
But I'll tell you what, when we got into van life, he got into the food a couple times when we just started living in a vehicle. And then after, he was just so happy. Like, we were going on these adventures. Like, it evened him out completely. He was like, no, I don't need to get in the food. Mommy's going to feed me as long as I know where the car is.
I think that for some dogs, the level of stimulation they're getting in the van negates, because I feel like a lot of the bad behavior in the household or the apartment, it's out of spite. It's because they're left alone. They're bored.
Yes.
Versus like in the van, there's always so much going on. So they're getting that adventure and excitement. But I would say if you have an anxious dog, I think that van life might be a nightmare for them.
Might be a nightmare. Out west, you have to be really careful with coyotes, especially in the desert. They will lure your dog out of a campsite, especially if you have a small dog. But I've had it happen to bigger dogs where we've almost lost a dog a couple times. That you've lost a dog to coyotes. And one coyote will come in real close to the campsite, broad daylight, doesn't matter. They're desperate out there in the desert, and they'll kind of flirt with your dog, and your dog will get curious and go follow it out into the desert. And then once that coyote sees that it's following it, it'll go out deeper and deeper, and the whole pack will be waiting to ambush.
Yep, they ambush them.
It happened. It's a horrible, horrible nightmare of a situation. Very expensive vet bill. Please don't do that with your animals. Keep an eye on them. It's fine to have them off leash in camp, absolutely, but like make sure they know the boundaries. And
your dog has to have good recall. Like, this isn't a backyard. You can't always control the environment you're in. We have black bears here. We have coyotes here. Gunner is not an off-leash dog. He has come such a long way in his behavior. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, why don't you just get him trained? And I'm like, if you would have known him from the beginning, he's already come a long way. And we can only ask so much of him, because I'm lucky that he's gotten this far. But he will never be an off-leash dog because he's still reactive. If there's a loud car, if there's a motorcycle, we've been boating before with Andrew, and he jumped off the boat going 40 miles an hour. We were like headed out to like the ocean. It was like a bay, and he jumped off, and we ran him over with the boat. He cut his tail with a propeller. Luckily, he's a psychopath. Luckily, I had bought him a life vest, and Andrew was making fun of me, and it was like, what dog needs a life vest? And I was like, I don't know, man. And so We had to slow down and turn around. We couldn't find him. He pops up with his yellow life vest. These people on a jet ski go save him because he's flailing around, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And so then Andrew, we had to get up next to the jet ski, and luckily the life vest had a handle. And he's an 80-pound dog, so he was just like a giant, like walrus drowning. And so we had to pick him up and put him on the boat. So yeah, he wouldn't go swimming for a while. But like he's just like he's not scared of anything, which is a great quality for a protective security type dog. But I have to protect him from himself because he just will never be able to be off leash unless we're like in a backyard. And we do go to our friends' houses, and there's a dog park that's like pretty private because he doesn't do well with other dogs. That's the other thing that I have to mitigate that's really frustrating is like a lot of the places that are dog friendly have dogs, obviously.
Don't leash their dogs.
Gunner hates other dogs. So Gunner's always on the leash on the trail. I have like super long leashes when we're at camp, so he can still basically run around, but he can't completely vacate.
Right.
And then I have a shorter leash. I tie him up to the van, and he honestly, his dog breed, he's American Bulldog Boxer mix. So all he wants to do is sunbathe, and then he'll do tug of war or wrestle. He is not a long distance running dog. Though the American Bulldog breeds are like workhouses, but it's like a lot of energy all at once. It's like a power lifter, not a cross country runner. Okay.
Right.
So he's not the type of dog where it's like, I need to run. Like he's fat and lazy mostly.
Well, when you talk about like protecting your dog, that's a whole level too. Yes, they protect us, but we also have to protect them. And one of those things that you have to worry about out here, I'm not sure if you guys have poisonous snakes, but I had to get Dutch got snake trained, and I was so confident in his abilities from doing it. It's like $150, if that. That I had Sparrow snake trained immediately. Like I think I had him for like a year and a half before I was like, okay, he's ready to get trained. And there's this place called Arizona Rattlesnakes. I think it's just ArizonaRattlesnake.com, but if you're out west, they will train your dog. They do use a shock collar, but they don't turn it up all the way. Like they use an actual muzzled rattlesnake. They use two different kinds of rattlesnakes because there's a couple species and they have a different scent. Then they use the skin, and they also use the sound with a speaker. So the dog learns the visual, the smell, the hearing, all the sensations of what a rattlesnake is going to be like. And they learn immediately that they get, the jolt when they get near the rattlesnake. And the reason they have to muzzle it is so that you can actually let your dog near it without getting bit.
That's insane.
But you have to have control of your dog during this training session, because if the dog gets too close and like attacks the thing, it can rip them up.
Gunner's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, but like you work with the trainers, they know what they're doing. They guide you through it. They show you what to do.
Gunner doesn't have that level of control. Gunner is not.
So you keep him on a leash, though. It's not like a big deal. Like if you come up to a rattlesnake on a trail, you're gonna.
I hate to say this, but Gunner, I don't think is as smart as your dogs, and we love him, but he's not.
Reactiveness. It's just that he has trauma, and he's more fueled by that.
He's like one-tracked mind. He's like, where am I? My name is Gunner. And I mean, he's very sweet, but he is, the only thing he's good at is like, hey, you're a weird guy, get away from us. And I'm like, that's fine. We just let you do whatever. He's old. We just let him do whatever he wants now. But that is actually super cool that you can snake train your dog. I didn't even freaking know that. We have rattlesnakes here. We have copperheads here.
Saved my life. Like within 2 or 3 days, we were in Flagstaff, and you can keep that in. And he alerted me to a snake like just days after the training. And I was about to go sit on this log because something was in my shoe, and I went to go like fix my shoe, and I was about to go right to this log, and he was already at the log, like sniffing and smelling, and
he knew.
came right back to me and did exactly what he's supposed to do. He's like, "Oh, I'm not going near there. Oh my God, Mom, there's something there." And I was like, and then I saw it and I heard it and I was like, holy crap, it worked. And I emailed the Arizona rattlesnake, everything,
Aw,
Arizona rattlesnake aversion, I think is what they're called. And I was just so pleased with what they had done. I was like, thank you so much.
that's really
Because
cool.
in days he had already like alerted me. So it's not just like protecting your dog, but it's great for you too.
That's
Especially
cool.
if you're out west. If you're going to be out west, like you need to, I can't tell you, there's one trail in Idaho and it was only like 80 degrees and Dutch and I were on it. And by the time we made it like a quarter way into the trail, quarter of a mile, we had already seen 3 rattlesnakes. And at that point I was like, we should just go back. We're
Yeah,
going.
no, there's certain trails here where there's a lot of snakes and you have to be careful, especially like in the brush. Like, there's a trail called Graveyard Fields and it's really pretty, but there's this part where it's a literal open field and it's really high grass and you can walk through it. It's a very narrow trail, but like there's snake, we have copperheads, we have rattlesnakes. Like, yeah,
So you
it's bad
to like
here.
selves as a dog owner what to look out for too. Like it's not just like travel everywhere and be clueless and naive.
No.
You know what you're getting into before you go there. And obviously you're going to be a newbie at some point. Everybody has to start somewhere and there's going to be things
Oh,
you don't even know you need to
you
learn
know a
about.
really big thing is ticks. The ticks, the deer ticks are
God,
really bad out here.
not
So,
bad.
yes, obviously have your dog on heartworm, flea and tick, but did you know the flea and tick medication, the tick meds do not 100% deter the ticks from latching on. They can still latch on. One of my
Yep.
followers' dogs got a tick-borne illness even though it's on flea and tick meds.
They can get
And
Lyme disease too.
Lyme
Yeah.
disease, yes. So I have a Miss Reggie sent it to me. It's this tick spray that you can put on your dog, just let it dry. I put it on my boots, I put it on the
Yep.
rugs. So it does deter them. You don't have to put it on like every day or anything, but I put it on right before a hike and it
Yep.
it really does deter them from climbing up Gunner. And I
Doesn't it
also
is it like all natural oils and
yes.
stuff? Or what's it
Yes.
made of?
It's not a
Okay.
chemical. No, it's like they hate peppermint. It's like essential oil type stuff,
Yeah.
but it works. But your dog still shouldn't lick it. I also have a tick key. Last weekend I had to pull a tick off Gunner.
Yeah. So this is
And
what I use along with the other stuff because
let
this
me
doesn't
see
work, but I
what's
make
in it.
my own because it's called Vet's Best Flea and Tick
Oh, I
Spray.
have that's the brand I use.
Yeah, and
That's
it
the brand I use.
has like it's been peeled off over here, but it's got eugenol, which is clove oil, peppermint oil,
Yeah,
and I put some lavender in there too. But you
it
don't want to use
works.
tea tree. Some people will tell you to use tea tree, and tea tree is toxic to dogs. So be careful how much you're using. Make sure it's diluted. But like this actually works really well, and I use it for me too.
Yep. Yeah, I used it. I use it on
Smells so good.
my boots and my ankles. It does smell
Yep,
pretty good. It keeps your dog smelling good
so
too.
good. Yeah.
Um But yeah, I would say like I check my dog after we hike or after like a really eventful day. I check him from head to toe. I check his paws. Like, we're super active. Like we're out in the wilderness doing stuff, camping, hiking. Like, yeah, I don't know.
You just have to be diligent. It's a whole nother step. But for those people again that are saying, how can you leave your dog in a van all day? We're not. We're not. And like all of these things we are constantly thinking about. There's no joke. We have to be as diligent, probably even more so than you do with your dog in a house.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because
Yep.
we're going to a lot of different areas frequently. So that's the other thing. It is imperative to make sure your dog has flea, tick, and heartworm, especially if you're traveling, because you're going to different environments.
Right.
Some vets will tell you that the heartworm isn't as big of a deal in certain areas. It's a lot of like humid areas where there's mosquitoes. But if you're traveling and your dog is interacting with all different pee, poop from different animals, it's
You
just
have to keep it
why
in mind.
not?
Yep.
Why not play it safe? Why would you not take that extra step? It doesn't hurt to do it.
And then there's like ingesting toxic plants, roadkill. Like you have to keep your dogs out of all that. Listen, there are so many times, especially with Dutch, he would eat everything. He would come back on a hike and he would find like half of a deer carcass and come back with the leg with the
Ugh,
bone hanging off and like the meat
I
fresh. And I was like, you can't let them, that's how they get worms. That's how they get parasites, like
yep.
all that stuff. Like yes, wild dogs can eat that stuff, but like these are domesticated animals. They have softer and more tender systems. So be careful what they're getting into. There was many a time, Dutch, I almost had to take him to Mexico to get emergency surgery because he would eat stuff and like if
Well,
chicken grease on it, like he was gonna eat it. Doesn't matter
I
if it was
mean,
or
this is also why, like, if you know your dog is prone to doing crazy stuff,
mm-hmm.
it's always just easier to keep them on leash, especially if you know that, like, you're gonna be on your phone or you're gonna be cooking dinner, just tie them up for the times where you're doing other stuff because it's just not worth the risk.
And
It
then
yeah.
set like if you have to work like we do for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, really high focus, set an alarm on your phone. Every 2 hours, every hour and a half, whatever, 15-minute break. And just go. It doesn't matter how far you walk. You don't have to go on a super big hike. Just walk with them. Just spend time with them. Because you're all they have. You're so important to them. It's just so important. So I try to do that. I don't set an alarm, but like at this point, like when I feel like, okay, I'm getting antsy, I need to get up.
Yeah.
It's him that I go
It's
see.
good
Like,
for
okay,
both of you. It's good.
yeah,
It sucks that, like, normal people in an office, I mean, you
can't
guys
do
still
that.
take breaks, but, like, because we basically are freelance, I need to take mental breaks, and I feel like it makes me more productive, and then me and Gunner go do
Going,
something.
going back to the whole working thing,
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to say this. I will not ever take a job where my dog is not welcome.
No.
Ever.
Oh, god,
So I've
no.
worked at farms, I've worked at homesteads, in trim rooms, and the number one thing I make sure is they know I have a dog and my dog is welcome.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not taking it. There's no way I'm going to leave my dog unless it's like not even then. No, if I can't park on property with my dog there and the windows and everything open and him leashed to the van and knowing that it's safe and that I can go see him every half an hour if I want to, there's no reason. If he can come in the trim room, even better.
Yeah.
But if he's not welcome there, I'm not working there. And
No.
that's a thing that sucks, but like priorities.
Yeah, you definitely if you're thinking about doing van life with your pet, I biggest piece of advice, start thinking now about your work situation. If it's remote, perfect, great, wonderful. If you're doing seasonal work, make sure that it's pet friendly or that you have the go ahead first and foremost, or else there's no point. Also do a trial run. I would say if you can there's companies where you can rent camper vans and RVs, or even if you just wanna try car camping with your dog, I would say you're gonna have to do a trial run. I didn't have that luxury. It was kind of like a survival, let's hope this works type of thing. But if you are thinking of doing it by choice, definitely do a couple weekends with your dog and see what the vibe is. And also, don't just go to the fun, wonderful place, sit in a parking lot for a couple hours and make them sit in the parking lot in the vehicle with you for a couple hours. Do it in different, do it at nighttime, do it in daytime. Obviously, like, don't be like, oh, I'm going to leave you in the car and see if you can survive. Like, that's psychotic. Don't do that. But I'm
Oh,
saying,
and
like,
that's another thing. Like if your dog is nervous in the van or the car, whatever you're doing, you can do like 5 minute stints at a time and then come back and reward them immediately. Because it's the second that they get used to being, they know that you're always going to come back, do it as often as you can.
I do feel like a lot of dogs end up acclimating because when you're legitimately living in the van, that becomes their home base and their home. So, I don't know. Gunner really, like, this is his home. This is his van. He thinks this is his van. Like, this is his van, literally. When we take it to the shop and it gets work done, he hates it. He actually, what's interesting is whenever we get a hotel every now and then, people are like, oh, I bet Gunner loves it. Gunner does not like the hotel. Gunner does not like being confined in the hotel. Like, he'll sleep or whatever, but he likes being in the van because he can see out the windows. There's something going on. When we're at the hotel, he's constantly looking out the window to check on the van.
Yep.
He
And you
would
have to go to
rather.
an elevator and a hallway and
He would rather be in the van than the hotel. I'm not
oh,
joking,
for
guys.
sure. For
I'm not
sure.
joking.
Sparrow's that way too. Like what I was saying about nighttime, like he'll go right back, he'll wait at the door. And when we go for a walk and he sees the van, he runs right up to the
Yeah,
van.
it's
Oh,
time. Sorry we're kinda jumping around today, like,
yeah. We
but
are
it's fine, it's fine. This
you.
isn't a TED Talk, we're just hanging out in our vans,
Right. We,
really.
we wanted to like express our deep desire for you to understand that if you do the ESA thing with an emotional support dog or a service dog, yes, it's great to get away from like the fees and the bullshit or the bull crap that the hotels give you and like certain places give you, but don't take advantage of it. If your dog is like Gunner, for example, and can't handle himself and isn't going to behave like a service dog, then don't try and play it off like he is one.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
unless it's an absolute emergency where you have to bring him on the plane or, some craziness, but like work with your dog, train them so that they at least behave in a mannerly way.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
For sure. Like I'm never going to attempt to make Gunner a service animal. Would it make my life easier? He, bless his heart, he's already 12 years old. Like I said, people are like, why don't you train him? He's come a long way. You don't understand where he started. And I think
Yeah.
it's important to realize if you're ever going to rescue an animal, you have to accept that it might never be that perfect, well-behaved pet. Some animals can only go as far as they can go. And that doesn't mean like Gunner's gotten a lot better about certain things. I still work on him with stuff, but I just know he will never be able to pass behavior wise for a service. He's not that guy. Not that guy.
Yeah.
He's not that guy. Sorry. Oh, look at him. He said, the way you're talking about me on this podcast is ridiculous, and that's why I don't want to be on it. That's
They
his,
know.
That's
They
his
know
voice.
when we're talking my thing. just came-
Gunner. But Gunner, it's true. You're crazy. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Gunner really knows how to play y'all online. Gunner plays all of you online so hard because so many people like, we should meet up or, oh, you guys can stay with me. And I'm like, my dog will kill your dog.
Yeah,
They're
no.
like, no, Gunner's sweet. And I'm like, I am trying to be, Gunner will kill your animals. Okay? He's messed up. He's messed up. He's messed up in the head. You don't know what he was like when I adopted him. It was penitentiary style.
Good boy. You're a good boy. See, now people have been walking by all day because we're at the frisbee park, right? The disc golf course. And we're still in the parking lot, but he's on a leash and he's got his little space in the shade. People have been walking by all day, and all of a sudden he decided he was going to bark at somebody. And I look up and it's someone who represents that stereotype of like probably not the most desirable
Chill
person.
vibe.
Right. And they just have that like body language and like anyway. He just knows. So it's just a perfect example. Thank you, Sparrow. Thank you, buddy.
I trust the dogs. The dogs know when people are weird. Well, I had a friend that Gunner never liked, and I thought it was really weird because Gunner likes everybody if we like them. And so Gunner never liked this guy, and then it turned out like, oh yeah, this guy was
Creepy.
not. Yeah, so always listen to Gunner.
We have cacti out here. They're little desert spurs. He brings them on his fur and on his feet into the van, and then they get lodged in the rug, and I step on them, and they're absolutely painful. They'll go through your shoe. They'll go through your tire. I don't know what they're made of, but they're like platinum. I don't know, but they're these little things that look like the end of a mace. The ball and chain mace.
Yeah.
And they're really scary because they hurt. And so he'll step on one and immediately stop and look at me like,
oh no.
And I just have to ask him, do you want me to fix it? And he'll lift up his paw and be like, here,
get it out
of my foot. And there's sometimes where he can get it himself, but like at this point now he knows that I'm going to come fix it. So he'll just stand there like, okay, Mom, can you handle this? But we didn't know about those until I started coming out west for Vanlife. I didn't know they existed. And like, they happen. There's definitely a lot of places out here. You can sort of understand where they are when you look at the terrain and like what kind of plants are growing, like, oh, they're going to be here. But, there's cholla cactus, which have barbs on the end of them, and they will stick in their feet and stick in their legs, and getting them out will cause them to bleed because it's like,
gosh,
it rips it out. So you kind of have to like,
and your dog, it's harder when they're long haired.
Dog and you're hurting your dog to get this thing out. They might try to bite you. You got to be careful.
Yeah, we have stinging nettle, poison ivy, like a lot of the leafy stuff, because we're basically in a tempered rainforest. The Appalachians are considered a tempered rainforest or whatever. So there's a lot of biodiversity. And, you're on these hikes, it's super easy to brush up against stinging nettle or any of that type of stuff. So you need to be able to visually identify basic stuff like that and make sure your dog isn't trudging through it because it is itchy and it burns and it's not
And
fun.
it's going to happen. So keep a first aid kit in your car or your vehicle.
I have a dog first aid kit.
And your dog. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When we're hiking, I have our mini first aid kit. I have Gunner's first aid kit. So Gunner, when we're hiking, he does use an e-collar because he doesn't have the best recall, and like I said, he can be very strong-willed. So, I really only ever use the vibration, but I really never have to use it. It's more so if he ever got off leash or there was a bear or something, and I can be like, "Bro, stop." And
Yeah.
he'll stop.
Yes.
It's for protection for him, basically, because he's a psycho. And then we also have a bear horn. We don't really need bear mace out here. The black bears aren't really that aggressive usually. Just don't get close to them. If you surprise them, like if you come around a corner, that's when it's kind of bad. But it's actually important to be a little bit loud on a trail, not like obnoxious. But if you're in a really dense trail in the Appalachians, you want to make a little bit of noise to spook the bears. Because if you're super quiet and you walk up on each other, then that's when it's not chill fun.
So we have cougars out here, and that's another great thing that it's okay to like be noisy and sing and whistle and make noise and talk to your dog and talk to yourself out loud. And I'm not a big fan of people who play their speakers.
No.
But when you're in cougar country, like it's not a bad idea. It's not.
Oh, people have bear bells. You can have a little jingle bell on your backpack.
Yes, bells on your boots, absolutely, and on your dog. And there have been dog attacks there, and I think because we're encroaching on these wild cats, like there have been some recent attacks and stuff, and they it happens more and more, and it's mostly because people are not that smart and they don't really know what to do. But if you're going to go out there, just be informed. It's not going to happen if you're aware and you know what to do. Like carry a rock in your pocket if you come upon a cougar. You know what I mean? If you throw it at them, they're going to leave you alone. They don't want to fight. They want one jump of attack and a kill. That's what they want. So they're not going to like come up on like two dogs or something that they're going to have a challenge. They just want an easy kill. And if you're making noise, they're going to be warned. But if you see a cougar, they've already seen you for probably about.
Yeah, the lions, the bears really aren't that scary to me because they're just kind of like bumbling around and then they're like, get away from me. The black bears don't want anything to do with you usually.
Right. They just want your food.
They just want your food.
The bears out here will break into your car though.
Yes. No, they will do that. The black bears here are very they are very willing to do whatever it takes to get your food, and they will definitely break into your car. Don't leave your coolers out. Whatever. So this is like we're getting into like all kinds of camping safety. But if you're gonna do this lifestyle and you want to get on out there, you got to know these things. But the big cats will stalk you. They will stalk you, and they're very quiet and agile. The cats scare me way more than the bears, in my opinion.
The cats I'm terrified. I've never seen one in the wild. I'm terrified.
I bet it's seen you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've heard them. They make like this, they can imitate baby sounds. They can almost sound like a human, like a woman calling for help.
Yeah, they sound like a screaming.
They do that on purpose because they've learned to imitate noises that will draw people into the woods.
It's terrifying. If you hear a lady screaming or shrieking in the woods here, don't go try and help them because I mean, yeah, I guess like people like the skinwalkers and all the scary ooky spooky, but even worse than those things, it's probably a big cat that's going to claw your face off.
Dehydration during long driving days. This is super important. Get your air conditioning. I haven't had air conditioning for like the 12 years of van life, and I recently have it in this vehicle, and I see him so much more comfortable when we drive now, like because in every other vehicle I've had, I could open all the windows and it wasn't a big deal. He would stick his head out. Dutch was comfortable. It was fine. But in this vehicle, during driving, I can only open my driver's window and it just doesn't create enough.
There's not enough airflow.
Right. So I can open the vent, but it still doesn't create enough of a throughway. So we went and I don't really want this to get out, but we had to deal with air conditioning. So we figured out a way to do that because
we need to fix our AC. Like our driving vehicle AC. We have a front and back AC, And Andrew just needs to get the guys at work to fix it. I don't think it'll be that expensive. They need to look at it. But when it starts to get really hot, Andrew will finally be like, "No, we need to do it."
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to do. I mean, if
It's
you guys
hot.
have that top air conditioner, so like you can chill. But with this van not being able to open things up while I'm driving, like he's totally gonna overheat. So it's like, yeah, no, we need to get that fit. And yeah, we worked on it. We have a bowl within a bowl. So there's always water available and it won't splash because if it splashes, it's gonna go in the outer bowl. They have bowls that are like travel bowls that are shaped like this, and the opening is right here. I still find that those splash and then I step in them and they flip everywhere. So this
Yeah.
works for me. We've been using it for a long time.
Yeah.
I can just leave it there, whatever. It's fine.
I like for hiking, I do like these for hiking, but the dogs
Yeah.
don't a lot of dogs don't like the eating or drinking out of silicone.
What's that?
Well, it probably tastes funny. I would wash these really good before the dogs use them. But also, like, these in the van are a nightmare because the dog steps on them, it collapses, it leaks everywhere. So I would have travel bowls, but also real bowls.
I have one that sticks, it just clips onto my hiking backpack. Yes, they're great for hiking, but not for the van. No.
You're gonna have to take more breaks on travel days.
Oh
You're
yeah.
gonna have to
Oh, you
stop way
absolutely
more.
will. Yep. You want to talk about that?
It's part of it. I mean, if people I really want this to be like a guideline for you don't think about these things until you have to think about them. So, I don't wanna deter anyone from doing van life with a pet. I think it's a great thing and it can be really beautiful. I got so emotional earlier, but it if this starts to seem overwhelming and annoying to you, then yeah, maybe this isn't gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah, we already talked about like vaccinations
Yeah.
and preventative meds and staying up to date. And like, yeah, you're gonna have to figure that out. You keep an eye, like put it in your phone, make a calendar, whatever you have to do to like remind yourself, like, hey, it's time for his checkup or his teeth,
Annual.
or just there's apps you can get too. I have a whole post about some dog apps that are great for van life on my Patreon. You can go check that out. There's Waggle, there's Fetch, there's not Fetch, there's
Bring Fido.
Bring Fido. That's the one. Yes. And like you can listen, there are times where like you're going to want to do things that you can't take your dog, or you can't leave them in the van. There are some national parks that you can't leave them in the van. You
Nope.
just can't. They won't let you in the parking lot because like, no, you're going to be in there a while.
I
No.
was at Chimney Rock before it was
Mhm.
completely destroyed, and I'm so thankful we got to see Chimney Rock and Chimney Rock Village before it was desecrated. But they did have a sign. It was so many stairs because of Gunner's hips. He can't do stairs.
Yeah.
He's just one of those big chunky dog breeds that it's awful for him. And Chimney Rock is like a bazillion stairs. So
Yeah.
it was still in the fall when it was cool, so we left him in the van, but there was a sign that was like, "You can't leave your dog in the van,"
Yeah.
and we didn't know that, and I was like, "Okay, whatever, it's not that busy." Gunner was obviously fine, and we did the whole thing and went all the way up there and back, and it was fine, but yeah, you're gonna realize a lot of places, it's
You're going to make sacrifices for your
yeah.
dog. A lot of national parks don't allow your dogs on the trails. You're not gonna be able to get in there with your dog. There's some that are like on the outskirts. You can bring your dog, but like if you think you're gonna go in there, maybe get a hotel room and leave your dog, or kennel them. You can get a kennel in Flagstaff. It's like $40 a day, and for me, that's totally worth it. When I had to get surgery on my mouth, I put him in the kennel, and it was just during the day. And then my friend went and picked him up.
We went to see another family that, the Unschoolies, we went to see another family, we got tickets
Yeah.
to,
They're now the
Bush
Candid Crowleys, by the
Oh,
way.
they changed it?
They changed it. It's the Candid Crowleys.
I'm so out of
I love
touch.
them. Amazing.
I'm so out of touch. Anyways, so we met them, hung out with them, they're very, very sweet, and we went to, Busch Gardens with them, and Busch Gardens has a dog kennel on site. And it was only $25, and Gunner had a big it was more like a run. It wasn't like a little crate. He obviously did not enjoy it.
Right.
And I really try to avoid kenneling because he was adopted and, like, he was in that environment. He knows now after this many years, he always knows we're gonna come back and get him. But Normally we just get a hotel because we do have that pet friendly hotel, and it's a plus for us because it's like cool, we get a shower and we get all it's like a bonus for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's certain times where you're gonna have to know that if you want to go do X, Y, and Z, there will be that extra expense of kenneling or getting a hotel. So just that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about like fleas, ticks, and worms and stuff as a traveler, as a traveling dog too. But there's something in the desert that I had to get this crazy treatment for my last dog, Dutch. And it was like a 2-month treatment. And it's not this like average, whatever. It's called valley fever. And some people call it a fungus that lives in the desert. Some people think it's from Agent Orange from like chemical warfare from years ago. Other people think it's just a bacteria. Like everybody will tell you something different. So do your own research and take from that what you will. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it is and what it's not because I've heard so many different opinions on it. There is a conspiracy theory, but the vets know about it, and your dog can get it from just digging in the desert. Just digging, and they get really lethargic and they
What?
don't really want to eat, and you think they're going to die. And what it is, it's like an infection or some kind of bacteria, whatever it is, it makes them really, really
Oh
sick.
my
It
gosh.
doesn't make sense what it is. And nobody really knows. Nobody really talks about it because everybody here already knows about it. So like it's not a big thing. I think there's some kind of inoculation you can get for it, but because we didn't know about it, Dutch didn't get one and he got really sick and he was already really, he was an older dog with
No.
he wasn't on the seizure meds yet, but that might
Okay.
have been a participant into him
Wow.
later in life. But he was like 7 or 8 when he got that. And for 2 months, I had to give him this medication. And the vet really was just like surprised that I didn't know about it. And I'm like, well, I'm not really from this area. We've been here for years coming back out here.
That's
Never
scary.
issue. So yeah, so that's an interesting thing. So just I'm sure there's like local like Facebook groups or like just places you can check ChatGPT even Google that you can find different things
Or
about the
go to the local pet store if you're in that area.
yes, go
Because
to a
they
pet.
know everything. The local, not PetSmart, not the corporate ones. Go to the local pet store if they have one. And the local pet store workers are usually so chill and informative and awesome,
Yeah.
and they'll let you know the deal.
Bottom line is our dogs are definitely taken care of and we make them a complete priority. They're not just a fashion accessory. They're not just an adventure buddy. They're not just a security guard. They are family. And some people in houses treat their dogs worse than what we treat our dogs. And of course, there's going to be those van lifers that maybe they're not making the best decisions with their dogs. Dirty kids. But for the most part, van lifers who are taking care of themselves in their van are also very aware and proactive about their pets' health as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not just like throw the dog in the van and go on a road trip. The road trip and the lifestyle revolves around the pet. Every decision I make in van life is with Gunner in mind and revolves around him. And I've had to say no to a lot of things, and I there's been a lot of things that we just can't do because of Gunner, and I'm okay with that. It's worth it for me to have that sacrifice.
It really is. I mean, they only have so much time. Every moment I had with Dutch, I'm gonna cry now.
I know. I know. I got so emotional.
To the day, it's crazy that we're coming out with this 2 years to the day. It's almost like he came down and was like, "Hey, you guys need to do this episode in memory of me."
Mm.
Um, he, yeah, Dutch was. We got closer when we moved into a vehicle. I realized how valuable he was to me.
Yep.
So much more so when we were spending so much time with each other because the second we were away from each other, I would go in to get a loaf of bread and come in back to the vehicle. And he was just like, "Oh my God, I missed you so much." And like, no, it didn't add to his anxiety. It was just like, we are a pack and we are a team. And when Sparrow came into my life, even when Mabel came into my life, there was an in-between dog that I had to rehome. There's a bond there, especially when you live in a vehicle, when you're traveling you have to be so much more aware of your surroundings together. You are a team. There's so much more of a bond there when you're traveling and going adventuring with your dog and not just keeping it home all day and on the couch and like watching it from the dog cam.
Yeah.
There is total different level of intimacy in such a small space when you have to be so conscious of your dog. And I am grateful every moment that I have with any dog that's in my van, even my friends' dogs. I adore them.
I agree. And I'm not crapping on people that, of course, there's amazing pet owners in houses, apartments, studio apartments, New York City dogs. Like they're all walks of life love their animals. There's just a really unique bond with van lifers and their dogs. I don't know what it is, but traveling with your pet and doing this lifestyle, there's something different about it. Like I said earlier, just like you grow closer with your pet.
You do. You do.
All right. Well, I guess don't get don't keep lock your doors.
Lock your doors, stay alert,
Stay
and
alert
always listen
for the knock.
the knock.